everyone. Welcome back to Presley's Pod. Today I have more notes, which is very exciting. I have a lot to talk about today. And unfortunately, I am recording this like right out of New York's heat wave. So it's just been kind of an off week. Like some of those weeks where it feels like everything should be canceled and you shouldn't have to do anything. And I honestly have been in such a funk. I have no motivation when it gets super hot. So this morning I did go to Soul Cycle at 7 a.m. before it got very hot. And it's so funny because I kind of bounce around from studio to studio. And so the studio that I usually go to, you kind of get like a mix crowd. And then one time I took the instructor that I took today, I took his class on like a Saturday morning. And I was like, where are all these hot girls coming from? Like everyone was like hair down, looked good. I was like, whoa, the class is packed. And then he walked in and I was like, oh, this is why the girls are showing out. Okay. But today he told me that I did a good job. So just had to throw that out there. Okay. Anyway, so to fuel today, because it's what time is it? It's 10:30 in the morning. We have a Gorgie. I don't know if I feel like everyone's heard of Gorgies. They are the top tier of energy drinks. Okay. I used to drink another brand and now I can't go back. Like they are every flavor is amazing. Whoever manages their social media is like a little angel and always responds to you if you post something. So cheers to Gorgies. This is their like summer sparkling pink lemonade flavor. I think it's honestly my favorite. It just tastes so good. Okay, so let's get into it, shall we? I have notes. I did not review said notes because, it's just been a week, but I do have a lot of notes. So we've got a lot to say. Let me get my little, can't put on this sweatshirt because it's so hot. Okay, so updates. Not on me, on my friends. Oh, okay, and let me get comfortable. So I think two of my friends that are currently sitting behind the cameras right now, cameras, my phone, the one camera, it's full production in here. We think that we might have met some husbands. We think there's two men that have tried to infiltrate this little trio not me, that they've kind of piqued our interest a little bit. They are both very thoughtful. They are both very obsessed with my friends in a good, healthy way, which we love. They're nodding their heads and giggling behind me right now, behind you guys right now. No, behind the camera, you know what I mean. And it's time. It's time. Like, for example, one of my friends was traveling and he offered to give his credit card information so that she could get into the lounge. His credit card information he offered. And that's what we need to be doing this summer. Yeah, like that's what we should be looking for. So with that being said, the other one said those magic words that we talked about last week. He said, I don't have any social media. And I was like, ding, 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 husband material right there. Turns out he said like he doesn't have social media anymore because obviously we're girls. We found the old account, but everything there checked out. And it's funny because in New York, like it's such a small world. You probably know someone who knows whoever you're talking to. And so it was funny to see like all of those connections. But were the three of us sitting on this couch a couple weeks ago thinking that another husband was in the picture? Yes. Since then, he has gone far, far away. He fumbled very hard, as the kids say these days, and turned out to be very disappointing for one of my friends. But like our group motto, we always prepare for disappointment, especially when it comes to men. So yes, there's a round of applause happening. Great. So I think like something about this friend group that I think really brought us all together is like I think we all have the same values and we all like work hard and yada yada yada. But I also think the three of us being single has been so much fun. Like it has truly made me love being a girl because we chat about everything. Literally everything. Anytime one of us has a question about something or we're like, oh, he said this, he did this, what do we think? Should I give him another chance? Should I call it off? Like we talk about everything and it's been so much fun to have that because for like the past my entire life. It's just kind of been me figuring all this out myself. And so it's been really nice to have people to bounce ideas off of. And in another weird way too, I'm like, you kind of get to date like vicariously through your friends in a way. So you're meeting all of these like types of men through your friends, and you can kind of like these two guys are very thoughtful. Like, is that something that I want? Like, is the person that I'm kind of seeing right now, is that something that like he would do for me, do I think? Like, you kind of start to like put the pieces together, and you hear about like other jobs and lifestyles and all of these things. You're like, oh, that actually sounds really interesting to me. Or, oh, maybe I need to be with someone like that. So chat with your friends, chat it up, like figure out, what honestly you can date vicariously through them, like I said. So that's been very helpful, and it's been very fun for us. I have been doing a lot of reflecting lately, especially when it comes to men and the type of men that I like to date. Okay, my type, it's very hard for me to tell if they're into me, because I tend to go for very successful men and very, very successful men. So they usually fall somewhere in between there, right? So the problem with that is that they're usually very busy, very, very busy, which I love. And honestly, I said problem, but like that truly doesn't bother me. I know that that's something that doesn't bother me. And so I think for me, like the busier, the better. You travel, you have work, you have a call, like great, do that, because I would want that in return. So that truly doesn't bother me, but because like they should be working, right? Everyone should be busy. And if we see each other, great. And if we don't see each other, if our schedules just don't like quite align, then we'll like move on to the next. The thing about this type too is like money is not an issue in the best way. In the best way, because they work hard, they should be making a ton of money. Great, good for them. But when it comes to that type of guy, it's very hard to tell, like, is this just a normal Tuesday for you, or are you like actually pulling out all the stops to try and impress me? Because he picks the restaurant and you're like, okay, good choice, and then you see the bill and you're like, oh, okay, maybe he does like me. But then again, you're like, I don't know, because this is just like a typical day in the life for you. So that's something that I have had to like try and figure out when it comes to like the type of men that I like. Um in a weird way, it's almost like their world is already so set in stone, and I have found myself kind of just becoming like an attachment onto their world, and I just kind of like boop fit right into their world, but we're not I haven't gotten to the point with anyone that we're able to fully like mesh our worlds together. And I think this is like such a great segue into like my I can tell where the problem is with like the next thing that I'm about to say, because when I'm with this type, since they kind of take a while for me to figure out, I don't offer a lot of information about myself. I kind of keep all the cards very close to my chest and kind of just sit back and observe, because they all seem very perfect on paper. Perfect job, great apartment, all the things. And so I just like to sit back and I just like to wait and try to figure out, like, okay, why are you single? Totally fine being single, because then we could date. So totally fine. But I like to just because there's been some times where I'm like, oh, that's it. Okay, you'll never see me again. Like, yeah, that's all I needed to hear, and this is making sense. Goodbye forever. So I also think too, because since I do take a step back and I really try to just kind of let them figure out what they need to figure out, I have this rule where I just don't text them. I just don't. Do I text? Do I not text? You don't text. You should not text. My friend the other day was like, I was thinking about texting him, and then I heard your voice in my head, and you said no. And I was like, no. Like, I have always gone off the idea that you should not text him first. Okay. We're all adults. We don't need to be chit chatting all day. If he's interested, he'll text you. If he's not, he won't text you. Period. End of story. Done. And also, no one is too busy to not text you. Okay. So, that being said, something interesting happened with someone that I'm kind of seeing. Um, I was following my rules, just abiding by how I usually do it. I was not texting first. I was like, did not care. And then one day I just decided to pull the plug. Can't even remember what I said, but I said something. I think he was traveling. I think I said something about that. But gross. So I texted first, and immediately after, I like wanted to vomit and throw my phone out the window and change my number forever because, like texting me on first, I can't. So, and then it was interesting because that kind of opened up like the floodgates. So it's almost like he needed to know that I was interested. And then it was like, not like we're texting all the time, but we definitely text more than we used to before. So now I'm like, maybe take my advice with like a grain of salt. Okay. Like he needs to know that you're interested. I kind of want to get into some like dating advice that, I mean, we all know like all of the basics, but I think these are just like some little things that I've picked up along the way of my dating experience in New York. So, first things first, I think one thing that my friends and I are struggling with now is when to give him another chance and when to call it. Not in the sense that he's done anything wrong, right? You're dating, you're like, okay, I like him, but I don't know if there's like that like spark that we want. Like, could this be a slow burn and like we're building a great foundation and this could be my husband? Or are we really just not clicking and like I don't know what to do, where to go from there? I think first things first, get very clear on what you're looking for and why you're dating. Like for me right now, casual, casual, don't care, don't care about anything. We're just dating to date and have fun because I know that I have a very busy summer and a very busy season about to come. So I'm like, you know what? Casual. So, like, for example, because I'm going into this and I'm not putting a lot of like stress on it, I'm not thinking like, could this be my husband? Could it not? I don't care if he's busy and we have to reschedule. Like, the person that I might be kind of seeing now. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm blushing like this on the internet. But the other day the other week he was like, "Oh, I have to reschedule, like I have to fly to Chicago for a meeting." And I was like, "Perfect." Cuz I truly did not care cuz I was like, "One, he's busy. Great. We love." And we rescheduled for the next day and I was like, "That does not bother me." The other day I like went over there and he was like, "Oh, I have to like finish a call." And so I was sitting on the couch and I kind of like eavesdropped a little bit on the call and I was like, "Oh, we're saving the world right now." Like he had to take that call. So, you know, doesn't bother me. But if you're going into and you're like actively dating because you want to find your person, right? You know in your gut if this is your person or not. You I honestly like don't you shouldn't put too much pressure on every little thing that he does, but for example, one of my friends like thought it was her person and then they went on one date and then the next date he was just like, "Oh, do you want to come over?" And it's like, "No. No one wants to go over to your apartment. No one wants to go over to your apartment, okay?" So that right there, it's like, no, not husband material. That's not what we're looking for. But if you were just trying to have a fun summer, sure, go over, hang out, whatever. So I think getting very clear on what you're looking for and don't like, even when you're in something that like I like him or we're kind of getting to know each other better, you don't owe him anything. You don't owe him like, obviously you don't want to be a mean person, but like when it comes to your feelings, and you don't need to think about him at all. You don't need to think about the dates that you went on, how much they cost. You don't owe him anything. I think that was some of the best advice that my mother gave me. um she told me that you don't owe them anything. And I keep saying it because I think sometimes it takes a second for us women to ingrain it in our brains because we're all very nice people, right? So if you go out and someone spends a couple hundred on dinner, you're like, oh, that was kind of a lot. Like, that was very nice of him. Like, maybe I should. No, you should not. He picked the restaurant. He decided to order the best wine. You told him that you were dairy free and he still ordered dessert. Okay. Been there, done that. Then you take like one bite of it and that was it. But that was on him because he didn't listen and you don't owe him anything in return. Okay. We're back. We're sweating, but we're back. I think I need to like figure out how to organize my notes better because all the words are starting to look exactly the same, but it's okay. We're here. So, circling back to owing men nothing. uh, it's the best. So, I think too, like, obviously, in a relationship, you can give and take a little bit more, but in the beginning, like, if a man asks you to dinner, I always assume that he's paying. The other day, my friend went on a date and she said that they split it. I can't even say it out loud. She said that they split it and he asked her, and with his job, he definitely, yes, he definitely should have been paying. And I was like, oh gosh, that hurts my heart. That hurts my heart a lot for that, for my friend and her bank account. But, so, we can get into that another time. But it's very interesting too because obviously earlier with my type, what I was saying, successful and very, very successful, that obviously means that, you know, money is a factor in those relationships. And I think the issue with that is that they're a very interesting breed. It's very interesting to kind of take my advice, like I said earlier, and just sit back and listen to what they're saying to you. Because a lot of it, depending on the guy, right? Depending on the guy, I don't think the person that I'm seeing right now will watch this, but if he does, this is not about you. Okay. Um, you're sitting there and all they're talking about is apartments, vacations, clothing, friends, trips, all the things, and it's just stuff. They're just talking about stuff. Like they're not talking about their friends, their family, their like mental health. They're not talking about any of that. To them, it's just stuff. Like one time I literally had a man say, whoa, I literally had a man say to me, my building has the best lobby in New York City. Did I go to said lobby? Yes. Was it probably the best lobby I've seen in New York City? I hate to say it. I hate to say it, but at least so far, yes. Like it was huge. The lobby was bigger than my apartment building. Okay, let's just say that. His apartment was not the best that I've seen, though. Not the best, but the lobby, chef's kiss. Okay, so I'll give him that, unfortunately. But it's very interesting because I think, but then obviously he had no personality. Like there was no depth. There was depth in the bank account, but there was no depth in the personality. Okay. So men with money, it's very interesting, right? Because as a society, we equate money with success. So if you are sitting across from a man and he tells you what he does for a living, instantly you're like, oh, he must have his life together. He must be a good guy who's just on it with life, who just has it figured out. Like, this is someone that I want. But just because he has that job does not mean that he's a good person, doesn't mean that he has a clean apartment, doesn't mean that he's nice to people. Like, just because he has that and he has that bank account does not mean that he's going to be a good partner to you. He can be mean to you on a park bench. He can also be mean to you on vacation. Okay. Been to both, experience both. And yes, did it not hurt as much on vacation? Maybe. But I will say the only like little, I don't play any games. If you text me and I'm on my phone, I will text you right back. Like I do not play any games. But the only like little game that I like to play is if I can tell that they're trying to get some sort of reaction out of what they're saying to me, I actively choose to give them no reaction. Like even with the best lobby in New York City, I was like, cool. Even with touring apartments, I'm like, oh, cool. Oh, yeah, I've been to that restaurant. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yes, like I don't live under a rock. Of course I've been there. So keep that in mind because that's what they're trying to impress you by because usually they have nothing else to offer besides that, right? Like, I think it was a couple months ago, I was flying back to New York and this guy sat down next to me and I could tell that he wanted to chat. And I was like, oh, don't talk to me, please. And we were talking and he was asking if I lived in New York, yada, yada, yada. He's like, oh, I'm going to New York. I'm going to the Hamptons. And he just like looked at me like that. And I was like, do you want me to say like, congratulations? Like, do you want a pat on the back? I just said, oh, cool. And I think he got the hint and stopped talking. But I just, because that stuff, like, I think every girl, every person should experience dating someone with a lot of money because it will teach you that it's not everything. And I think we think this, like I said earlier, that society will, it kind of like gives us that idea that that will solve all of our problems. But trust me, it won't. So I honestly think like we live in New York City, okay? You can, they're running wild around here, okay? You can find someone and trust me, you will come back to me and be like, hey, I tried it. I don't know if it's for me, but when you find a good one, you find a good one. There's also part of me too that because of what I do for a living, and we're going to talk about this like money and all of those things another time, but when I'm talking to these men, I tell them what I do for a living, I can see there's like an instant where there's like a little flash of their eyes where I can tell right away that they don't like respect what I do or they don't take it seriously. And that's always such a good tell for me because I'm like, "Oh, okay, so you don't think that there's any sort of like future here. It's fine." And I again, we'll touch on this, but I just want to say be proud of like the work that you do. Be proud of your apartment. Even if you're not living in like a penthouse in Central Park, okay? You make money, you pay your rent, you like pay all your bills. Be proud of that. Just it shouldn't be the same as like this insane man that you're dating, okay? Be proud of the work that you're putting in and the money that you're making. And yes, if you live with a roommate, like who cares? We're young, we're supposed to. So don't hide that from someone just because they're more successful than you or because they have things that like you don't have. Be proud of who you are, okay? Wow, I am sweating. New York City in the summer. Okay, let's talk about some more like dating advice just to throw like some little tips out there, okay? Do not rearrange your entire life to go on a date. Do not rearrange your entire life to go on a date, okay? Especially if it's a first date, like I would say like 1 through 4, okay? There was a moment a couple weeks ago where I didn't take this advice just because he's a very busy man. We're both very busy. We were traveling and I was like, if I need to see this man, it's going to happen. It has to happen on a day that maybe I need to move some stuff around, okay? So when it comes to that, sure. But a first date, like you should be busy. I want to be with someone that's busy, okay? So do not, your life is your life. If he can fit into your life, great, perfect. If he can't fit into your life, bye. So I used to have this rule when I was like in my early 20s, and now honestly, I'm so over it. But I called it the 4 p.m. rule. If a man does not text you the time or the place by 4 p.m. on the day that he said you were going, you're not going. You're not going. One, that's not the type that we want to deal with, right? We're not like a fly by the seat of our pants type group, okay? We don't need that. They just don't understand that we like a plan. We really like a plan. And for me, if I haven't heard from the guy, then I'm like, oh, then this just isn't the type of guy that I want to be with. Like, I think I need to be with someone that's a little bit more type A, like so that we can kind of be AA plus together. Okay. I also think that to me, that's like, if they don't have a plan, if they haven't like made the reservation, I just don't want that. So it used to be 4 p.m. Now for me, it's noon. Like if it's noon and I haven't heard what we're doing, then I'm just assuming that we're not going to go because again, I don't want to be like disappointed and I don't want to waste a night. If I have a free night and I was planning to go on a date, then and it doesn't work out, then I'll just go hang out with my girls and go do something else. I also think that I like to go into a date feeling confident in myself, feeling confident in the outfit that I chose, feeling confident in my hair and my makeup. And that takes time. Men don't understand that we want to give ourselves a blow dry before, not for them, not for them, not for them at all. But we like to feel good and confident in our own skin when we go on these dates. And if they're texting us like at 4 o'clock, do you want to meet at 6? No, I'm not doing that. So we're not doing that. And that's kind of ties into another thing of like, wear whatever you want to wear. Do not dress for the male gaze ever. Ever. The most confident I've ever felt going out is when I feel comfortable in my outfit, when the outfit is for the girls, it's not for the men, okay? So wear whatever you want. Don't stress about that. Wear something comfortable. If you want to eat the fries, eat the fries. If you want to order dessert. It's on his tab, okay? If you want to, I don't know, wear heels, wear heels. If you don't want to wear heels, you don't have to wear heels. So keep that in mind, okay? This is my other piece of advice that honestly, this section should be for the men, okay? When I'm on a date with someone, I am locked in with you, okay? We are locked in. I do not have a wandering eye. That is my pet peeve. I cannot stand when I see a man like this, swiveling his head in every sort of direction as if he's never seen a woman before, okay? I was on a date. We were at a private members club, okay? And it was crowded. It was very crowded and it was very dark. So obviously, I walk in, I do a quick scan of who we're working with, okay? And I was like, whoa, I got to figure out how to come back here on my own time. So I take a quick sweep and then I sit down with this man and we are locked in. I don't know anyone could be walking behind me and I give him that respect and my time that I am locked in with him. Him, on the other hand, the whole time he was looking at the girl behind me and I knew that that's what was happening, but he was like kept looking that I was like, who is behind me? Like I better turn around and see Sabrina Carpenter, okay? Because I was like, this is insane. So I turn around and it's just like, I mean, she's gorgeous, but I was like, oh, he's looking at this other girl, and any girl that walked past, he was like but the kicker was we're sitting there and he's like, oh my god. And I was like, what's happening? And he was like, Ryan Seacrest just walked in. And I was like, then ask Ryan Seacrest to dinner, okay? Because I don't think that this is gonna work out. So the wandering eye, right? Let's tone it down, okay? And I think too, sit back and observe that. Sit back and see if he's kind of looking around, if he is looking around at other girls. Like, I honestly wanted to say to him, just you can ask her out. I'm gonna go. But I didn't. I suffered through a dinner for that. But the food was good. Last thing that I want to say is like, on your way out to go on these dates, listen to some Meg the Stallion. You are that girl. Hype yourself up. He is lucky to be in your presence. Remember that you're trying to figure out if you like him too. And they don't show it well, but they're freaking out on the inside, okay? I've done my research. They are freaking out. You are causing them gray hair. So remember that, as we should. So enjoy being a girl. Have fun. Go on dates. Again, if he picks the best restaurant, that's on him. You owe him nothing. And yeah, enjoy it. It's summertime. It's hot. I don't want to be here, but we are here. The next time that you see me, I will be in Vegas. Woohoo! And I think that's why I was like feeling so blah this week, because I have some busy traveling coming up and that sometimes gives me a little bit of anxiety, but that's okay. We're going to push through and there's no reason to be stressing about the future when it hasn't happened yet. So we're here. Next time you'll see me, I'll be in Vegas. It should be nice to get out of New York. Yeah, thanks for listening. This was so fun. I know that I rambled, but I'm excited to kind of do some more things about, dating and life in New York City. So hope you all have the best week, and I will see you soon. Bye.